Thank you for joining us for the second episode of Savage Streaming Productions. I got a special guest here, Oregon's Paul Marquez. I know a lot of people are wanting to see your aiming systems and what you got going on, and so we're gonna first start with tournaments that just happened. ACS Open. You were down there for that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome tournament.
Comfortable environment.
Yeah, you play a lot of pool.
Yeah. Do. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the Open 9 ball, the winner, men's division, Shea Lanter, beast.
He's been around forever.
I had to play him for first and second.
He's always on the teetering line of the master.
He was making stuff from everywhere.
He
Two
likes
real
to beat
kicks.
me more than anybody.
Yeah. Well, everybody likes beating you, Paul, because when they beat you, they feel like they've done something.
Take special note of it.
Right. A-ball, John Bowe won the A-ball. He's been kind of winning everything out there lately.
Him and Nicole D, they seem to take in the titles lately.
Man, like their game has risen to another level. The elite 9-ball, Cedric.
No, what a monster.
Oh, good lord.
Big break. I mean, the guy works full time, takes care of his kids. When he decides to practice, everybody's in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a special talent.
He's been around in the pool community for a long time too. A-ball.
Yeah, I got that one.
Man.
Yeah.
That was a lot of pool for you.
Yeah, it was a heck of a week.
I was watching your guys' match while I was playing mine. I was like, man, every time I saw you, you were in a match pretty much all day.
That's what ACS tournament. They're long.
Yeah.
So spend a lot of time, and that's what you're there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being in a casino, spending.
Well, that was my first time being down there for ACS. You know, Savage Billiard Apparel. We had a booth down there.
Yep.
I got a chance to meet Judy. Judy's awesome. I like her. She's very old school.
For sure, yeah.
But the great thing I liked about the ACS tournament, you're just playing pool all day long.
Like I said, the races are and for pool.
Right.
I mean, stream comes.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. So the women's open 9-ball was Patricia Gary. Man.
I don't know her.
Yeah, she was really cool. She came and bought a lot of apparel from me, and every time she won some money, she'd come over and buy something else. And she is a super, super nice lady. And then Linda won A-ball, and another strong shooter.
She's up there from.
Yeah.
She just started pool.
Really? I didn't know that.
For her to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of her match, and man, she was just drilling stuff.
She's smart too. She plays good. You know, or helps her a lot. In pool.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not getting close enough to the mic. Sorry, guys.
So yeah, you have to kind of get right on it. So the elite women's Robin Adams 9-ball. Oh, good lord, I can't say enough. She is such a fearless player.
She's at every event now, getting better.
9-footers. I see her at Sam's for Carissa Biggs. Once a month 10-ball tournament at Sam's. If you haven't played in that tournament, I think that is one of the go-to tournaments to go to as Sam's.
You can't beat it. I mean, low entry. You get to play great. Payouts are
$500 added from Val, the owner of
not bad.
Sam. Great food.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Sam's is the best pool hall.
Yeah.
You know, me in Portland.
Well, they make like 6 soups fresh every day.
Well, they have real chefs.
It's a pleasure to play a tournament there. Their steaks are awesome. I mean, great service, great people working there. I can't speak highly enough about Val because
I love that place. I go there 5-6 times.
Yeah, every time I go down there, you're there. You're there.
They treat me good there, so
On table number 4.
Well, not so much anymore.
Oh,
I got a table now.
Oh, yeah,
so.
that's right. I saw
Yeah.
pictures of it on Facebook, man. That is, and you got Littman lights in there.
Yeah, I got the Littman light. He sold me the table, so made a little package deal with the light. So.
Yeah, I mean, those lights are night and day difference. BCA on their streaming TV, and then you look at the tables that don't have the Littman lights, it's like day and night.
And they're thin, and they're beautiful, and they're classy. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get over there and let you take some of my money at your table. So that is a beautiful looking table that you just had installed in there.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always wanted a gold crown. I grew up on gold crowns. I started on in the 90s on gold crowns. My heart is even more than a diamond.
Yeah,
and that's what I enjoy.
Who did the install on that table?
Randy Smith.
Oh yeah,
and he's the best in the business.
Yeah,
so I got lucky there too.
Plug in for Randy Smith. Yeah, it's,
well, he's so, so focused, and he's
detail oriented.
Detail oriented, yeah, that's what I mean. He won't go away unless it's perfect, and you gotta appreciate that.
Yeah, especially on a table that you're spending a lot of time on in your living room. Yeah, yeah. Also the money part. Right. Cindy Doty, she was the 8-ball champion. God, what a
BCA Hall of Famer.
What a classy, just good around person Cindy Doty is. I had the pleasure of talking to her more down at the ACS, and man,
she's given her life to pool. You know what I mean?
Her commitment to get everybody involved, women. She's a big advocate.
She's always on the phone. If you ever have a question, you can call Cindy. All the players call Cindy when there's a problem. She's there for us.
Yeah.
Backbone around here.
Well, she is on the BCA committee board, isn't she?
Yeah, I don't keep up with all that.
Yeah,
it changes rapidly.
This is true. So going down the list, women's teams. Once again, Cindy, your wife, Kristen.
No, I don't think. Oh, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kristen Cambis.
Right.
Sorry. Kristen Cambis, Tama Parlett.
Her.
Yeah. No, sorry, Kristen out there, Mrs. Marquez.
Kirsten is
Kristen,
my wife.
Sorry,
Kirsten.
Yeah, I always say her name wrong. Even in the tournaments, I say her. Sorry, she's gonna be mad at me.
No,
Nicole D.
Like I said, she wins everything.
Man, Nicole has been on fire.
She's got talent.
Yeah, I know that you've kind of helped her in her game too, haven't you?
No, not really. No, just positive reinforcement. I didn't really.
You guys hang out in the same circles together.
We have the same friends.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's done that on her own.
Hard work.
Yeah, she's got some other instructors too. What's his name?
Robin.
I believe Robin helped her.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing for Nicole, because I've played in a couple of tournaments with her at the Water Trough when there was tournaments down there, is that, man, she's a fearless player. She doesn't care if you're man, woman, old, young. She's just going to play.
Her stroke doesn't get weak.
Yeah.
And it's always powerful and strong.
Doesn't break down.
It translates, playing good pool.
Yeah, she, I think in a little while, in a short little while, she's going to be even more dangerous because her game just keeps on.
The more confidence she gets, the more dangerous she's going to be.
Yeah.
And then all those trophies got to give you confidence.
Yeah, I've played her a couple times, and man, you can't be asleep at the wheel.
No.
She knows how to safety. Yeah. Men's teams, Paul Marquez, Scudder, Evan, Bennett. We played you guys, me, Tim Frazier, Men, and Pete. And good Lord, man, you had some breaking runs in there.
Those are seasoned veterans I have on my team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nobody breaks down. You don't have to worry about anybody, being late.
Yeah.
They've been around, so it was a solid team.
Yeah. You guys had a good chemistry thing going on too. I know.
Yeah, we constantly joke and tease each other, and we're friends.
Have fun.
Yeah.
So the Scotch Open, once again, John Vo and Kristen Cambis won the Scotch Open.
Kristen's winning everything too.
Yeah.
Kristen and John.
John and they played together all the time, which I think is kind of improved their game. But also, she's got that Revo now too, connected to that P3, and
Yeah.
I was watching her do some cuts on some rails and stuff, and man,
The Revo cuts the ball remarkably.
Well, we're going to talk about that soon because you're a Revo. You
Yeah,
switched to
I'm
the
not
dark
really
side
here
too.
Promote Predator, but I am playing with the Revo now. Yeah.
Right. The advanced open was Chad Bisconer and Robin added.
I don't know who's going to beat them. I mean,
what a monster
yeah,
team.
Chad's 8-ball game, and he played with my wife, Scotch, and he's a great partner. He's even-tempered, relaxed when there's a mistake, and he's a great player. So he's a perfect partner to have.
Yeah. I mean, Robin Adams, I don't think you could really ask for. I've ran some Scotch doubles tournaments out of here at Fortune Star, and man, she is a great Scotch partner. I know because I've seen her play with many different people, and she doesn't get down. She just keeps even tempered, and
she can play.
Yeah.
It helps.
On the bigger picture of things, the U.S. Open was big. The thing that I noticed, I was talking to Steve Lingelbach yesterday about it, and once Matchroom Party Poker picked that up, good Lord, that thing blew up.
There was lots of complaints about the money and where it was going, but the consensus is the pros are in love with Matchroom.
Yeah,
and that's what they want.
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
Well, yeah, I mean, slept with lots of cues. But my dad, I was like in 4th grade or 5th grade, and I never knew my dad could play. And he wanted me to watch him shoot one game of pool at a community center. So, of course, he breaks and runs out. And that was the only time I ever seen him play pool. And it kind of stayed with me until later in life. And then when I got older, I wanted to play myself.
Yeah, we're going to actually ask some questions pertaining to that here in just a little bit so people can get to know the history of Paul Marquez and what kind of got you to the point that you're at now, because I think your Fargo is like at a six. I know it was like
666.
Yeah, I know for a while it was like 666, and you're like, okay, either I gotta start losing or start winning, one way or the other.
Does it mean I'm horny?
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. People, you might have a lot of people asking questions about that later. So, so Chad and Robin, Party Poker, man, Joshua Killer Feeler.
What a monster.
Good Lord.
Yeah. He just lets us swing out. He's got no fear. He doesn't worry about things, and he's amazing. So he's got big balls. That guy. He's a player.
Well, I think Wu was actually ahead in that set for a little while. It came down to like 6-4 or something like that, and then it looked like Joshua just kind of clicked into a different gear.
He's got the energy and attitude of a champion.
Yeah.
Especially in 9-ball. You got to be aggressive. You got to shoot the bank. You avoid the safety, shoot the bank sometimes, and he's willing to do that. He shot that last 9-ball in the corner against Jason Shaw.
Yeah,
that shows what kind of
part. Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Well, he took home the 50,000, and the difference between first and second was 25,000. 50,000. So imagine that, like that last
and they're from
match.
Different countries. They didn't make a deal in the bathroom.
Right. Like I'm gonna sell out, and we'll split 75,000 later. Yeah, right. Before I go back to China, we'll split the money. It was $25,000 between first and second. So
and Filler's girlfriend runs that, or
she's always in the picture.
There, I think.
Yeah, I saw her in the background constantly. So yeah, he's got lots of support from her. I always see her in the backgrounds of every tournament that he does. So
they got some championship DNA going over there.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah. So other tournaments, we have on Sundays. Well, maybe we just go let's see. Maybe because we really want to spend some time with you on the table and kind of see what you're looking at.
Sure.
So maybe we can just get started right into the questions because I know a lot of people are chiming in that want to know about Paul Marquez. So how'd you get started in pool?
In the early 1990s, I had a friend group, and that friend group liked to drink and party, and we would get in trouble. I mean, a young man, and we'd get in fights all the time and things like that. And there was just a day where I was like, man, I can't hang out with these guys anymore.
We've all been there.
So I kind of just I moved away from them and just tried to find something to do. And I ended up at Grand Central Bowl, and there was lots of actions there. There was Asian gangs, and there was just gamblers and old school hustlers, and it was just an atmosphere I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I was the sucker for about a year and a half. I lost all my money. I lost to Glenn Atwell's wife. She beat me at $2 a game for $40 every single time I saw her for like a year. And that's how it all started.
But you just kept on coming back, and you're like, okay, I'm going to keep coming back.
I don't want to be the sucker forever.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm sorry.
Cunningham gave me the 6-ball back then.
Oh.
That's a true story.
Cunningham.
I mean, Ray was so much better than me. He had to give me the 6. I couldn't win, but I had I was trying.
When was this?
1993 or 94. Something like that, yeah.
Chris Nealon. He wants to thank you. He says that you are a special person in this game.
No.
Man, and Chris is a pretty good shooter himself. That's
that's really kind of him.
Yeah. So this one is from Tony Dunlop.
Mm-hmm.
Does high-level players rely on luck off the roll?
Sometimes, I mean, sure. I mean, the break is so chaotic.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're playing area safeties, area shape. Sometimes you get hooked, sometimes you don't. So I mean, luck is definitely a factor. But if you can eliminate as much luck as possible, that's the goal. But yeah, I mean, lots of matches that you win or lose hill, especially playing rotation games that have to do with some breaks that you get. Especially at the pro level. Way above my level, you'll see a lot of luck factor come in. So it happens.
Well, I hear a lot of commentators at the pro level when they're commentating, like the rolls are going his way today, and I know that I have those moments where it just seems like kind of momentum kind of shifts, and I'm starting to get some lucky rolls, especially in rotation 9-ball, 10-ball.
Yeah, you want to keep an even kill. You know what I mean? You're gonna have sometimes you're gonna have highs, sometimes you're gonna lows, but if you can just keep your game steady, you're gonna find better results.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's practicing being a better player and doing drills and getting out there and being exposed to tournaments. You gotta, I always cuss on here, but you gotta poop your pants a lot.
Yeah.
In order for you to feel better when you're out there. Like if you fail so much, you fail 35 times in a row, what's the 36th time? You don't even feel the pressure anymore. You know what I mean? So you got to really get out there and expose yourself. And that's what I tried to do.
Before I forget, because I forgot this in the tournament part of this, is I want to give a plug in, and I believe your wife is playing in the NWPA tournament here at Fortune Star. I believe the brackets.
Kira North's done a lot of work for that.
Really Kira and Stephanie Hefner, I can't say how committed they are to furthering the pool for women in the Northwest.
Yeah, you can't beat those two. Those are two of my favorite people.
And I had a pleasure of playing both of them before, and they are such good sports people and great ambassadors of pool, the way pool should be.
Yeah. We're lucky to have them.
Yeah. Ray, are you putting up the flyer for people to see? So this is the flyer that they have for this Saturday. You should come down and watch at Fortune Star. I believe it starts at what time does it start?
Probably 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. I mean, always trying to make pool players get up early. You know
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, I believe that's gonna be an all-day event because they got the whole brackets filled up.
What's that? 2-day event?
Or excuse me, 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday this weekend. You should definitely come check that out and watch.
I'll be here. I'm gonna do some commentating. I got Mike Grimm coming over to my house, play some one pocket, and then after that's
Oh
over
Lord.
with. Yeah. Well, he wants to train. You know, he's a champion.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Mike Grimm is on my sponsorship team for Savage Billiard Apparel, and the reason why I picked Mike Grimm is that he has a heart, and he just wants to keep. You might beat him, but he's gonna come back.
Yeah. His offense is. I wish I had that.
I seen him cut stuff that like I played Scotch doubles with him one time. And he's like, dude, just let me see the ball.
Yeah,
I don't care how much
that's
of
Grimm.
it. Yeah, just let
yeah.
me see it.
I'm just hoping he gets hooked.
Yeah, right. Right. So we're gonna get back to the questions here pretty soon. So Kira just chimed in. Players meeting, 9:30 a.m. And they need refs.
Scorekeepers and timekeepers, I think they also need.
And refs, I saw her chiming in. So refs, scorekeepers. So if you're not doing anything Saturday, or if you are, try to
If you want to have
reschedule.
a bunch of women hate you, be a scorekeeper.
Right. Oh yeah. Or a
I mean
ref.
a timekeeper.
Oh man. Oh, that's right. Which I think more pools should have that in tournaments is
man.
refs. I think that would be.
If they had a shot clock one pocket tournament,
Yeah.
I'd go to that.
Yeah, that would. Yeah. So Kara, 9:30 a.m. players meeting here at Fortune Star. So if you can come volunteer some time for a great cause and for some great pool players here in Oregon, come down for sure.
I'll be here. It'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe get back to some of this. How long have you been playing pool, Paul?
I started in 1992, and then I played up until 2001, and then I took a 9-year break.
A 9-year
to do
break.
martial arts.
Oh yeah.
And then in 2010, I kind of eased back into it. Around 2013, I was serious again. Yeah.
So here's what's your most favorite thing about pool? I think that's an awesome question.
You know, for me personally, it's interesting because I struggled at a time in my life, and when I reached out for help, it was pool players that kind of stepped up. So the community means more than anything to me. Not just the game, all the people and the support they give. So that's what I love the most.
You know, something that I've noticed about pool players, we all maybe at times disagree with one another or have conflicts with one another. But the thing that I've noticed is when a pool player's down, especially like in my league, our Rose City Billiards Club, there was a gentleman that we thought was in distress, and you know we might have issues off the table and so on, but man, the rally support that you get from the pool community.
It's family.
Yeah.
We all know each other. You know, this is what we do. You know.
Yeah.
And it's powerful too. You can't beat it. You can't find it in other places. You know, it's special.
Well, you know, you too play sports and stuff, and I played basketball and did golf tournaments before. But it's something about the pool community that's even more connected together.
You can't beat it. I mean, I could tell you my complete story, but let me just tell you that people step up in the pool community.
So we're gonna get back to this, but we have a question from Tarek. To you, is center ball actually center ball or hair outside to limit throw?
Great question. You know, I'm always aiming with center, and the reality is I've been teaching so long now pool
Yeah.
And I'll say hit this with low right or hit this with side or hit this with top left or whatever, and then they'll go, well, let me get behind you, let me watch you do it. And although I'm close, my muscle memory does things a little differently.
Yeah.
So although I may be aiming with center or aiming with left, when I deliver a strike, my tip may not be doing that because all the the practice that I do, I know what things feel like. And Stan Tarango says it best. He doesn't really aim; he feels. And I set up with aiming, but if I really want to feel the shot, and I play so much, the feeling that matters to me. It's not so much where I'm hitting.
That come from your Filipino background?
I'm only a quarter. That's why I'm only as good as I am, I guess.
Well, no, you say Phil, but when I see interviews with Boosty and
well, you can't copy
Efren,
Boosty. I mean,
they all say Phil.
Well, look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can copy Boosty.
Yeah.
And we try to mimic Efren, but Boosty's definitely a different level. If you ask me, he's my favorite player.
Right.
Yeah.
The way his aiming system, that'd be pretty hard to duplicate. I believe
His wind up. I mean, it's a work of art, really. I mean, if you watch Bustamante play, that's neat. That's neat pool.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an art for sure. So, what is your least favorite shots to do that kind of challenges you?
I don't break very well. I have to keep training on that. My best buddy Mike D breaks so good, and Cedric breaks so good. And, my buddies break so good, and I have to train at that. And
what do you do to train on your breaks?
Well, I break a lot, and I move the cue ball around, and I even got a helper from Greg Souter. So I have a cue that's built for breaking, more so than just a break cue. It's balanced funny. It's got a small handle.
He built it for you.
Yeah.
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 Customized around you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Purple Heart. I had a Purple Heart cue, so he matched that.
Beautiful cue.
And he designs a forward-weighted cue where you just lay it straight down. You don't have to elevate it, pop it. You just kind of follow through, and it allows people to break harder than normal. I have to calm it down a little bit, but it does make things easier.
When you say calm it down, because the balls are hitting the rails and then coming back?
Well, if I took a normal break cue, I would use a lot of hand speed. This particular cue, you don't need a lot of hand speed. You need controlled speed, and the explosion happens. You can kind of see it when Shane Van Boening breaks. His mile per hour isn't that high compared to a lot of players, but his explosion's way higher. It's because of the connection. And this cue makes it easier to connect.
Gotcha. Got another question. Roy Watkins. Do you play?
Yes, I still need the 8, Roy.
Well, yeah, so you're going to have to give the 8, Roy. And do you play better on a bar table or a 9-footer? Oh, that's a good question.
You got to define better. Well, I'm going to run more racks on a bar table. I probably compete at a higher level on the big table. I believe that the bar table kind of brings everybody else's abilities up, and I'm a big table player, so you've got to be a big table player to beat me. You can't just be a guy that plays in bars. Beat me on a big table. That's not going to happen. So it's a funny question.
So, but I've played against you on both tables, on the 9s and the 7s, because with your kind of stroke, it almost seems like a 9-footer kind of fits your stroke better.
Yeah, it makes me feel better. Going, like there's basic rules I learned from Bill Kress years ago. 3 rails is better than 2, 2 rails is better than 1, 1 is better than none. On a bar table, those rules don't really apply, so I have flowing strokes that I trained. Bar table, you got to kind of pinch and punch and set straight in and not have so much angle. So they're really 2 different games, especially the diamond. The diamond's changed everything. A valley, you can kind of still stroke the ball, but a diamond, you have to be really careful, and it's a whole different game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you have a beautiful stroke on a 9-footer. Kind of like that Filipino
I'm being
stroke.
inhibited on the small table. I always feel like,
yeah,
yeah.
You're releasing down to a couple rails. I noticed that you kind of like
What's
to use rails.
Cody's last name from great player Cody? I can't remember his name. Yes. Anyways, when I first got back to pool, Cody from Rodders, I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name.
If anybody can remember Cody's last name,
everybody
throw
knows
it out
Cody.
there.
Oh my God, I saw his game develop on a diamond, and it was so different. And he barbecued me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it develops a new type of player. These small diamonds. It's a different stroke. It's a stun stroke. A lot of straight ins, and I try to model my, especially 8-ball, my bar table game, the way he played it. So I learned from him.
Well, there you go, Roy. You're gonna give up the 8, and
Roy Watkins is much more comfortable on a big table.
Right.
I can answer that already. Johnson, that's right, Cody Johnson. Yeah.
Cody Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question for you, Kevin. Paul, what is most important aspect of a strong contender? Mechanics, mental, or practice?
No, it always goes back to the Ichiro effect for me. Ichiro Suzuki, the baseball player.
Yep.
They asked him what made him the best hitter in the world when he was the best hitter in the world, and he would always talk about how he would focus on what he does right, even after mistakes. So the ability to let things go, after you dog a tournament, after you didn't get there, after somebody that's not as good as you beat you, which happens all the time. The sooner you can let that go, the better. Like, even when I'm practicing straight pool by myself, if I can, well, now I can go to the fridge, get a beer. But those breaks, that 2-minute break, I can completely come in with a fresh mindset. The next tournament is the next tournament. The next practice session is the next practice session. If you can somehow get those skills, you can become a better pool player. If you hang on to the negatives, you're going to stay there. If you believe you're a 5-5, and that's what you are, you're going to stay there. And you got to be able to
forgive and forget yourself.
You know what I mean? And move forward. Focus on what you do good. Of course, you got to bring up your mistakes. You can bring up your weaknesses. If you have a weakness, you want to bring it up. But if you got nervous and missed the 8-ball and you're upset for a whole weekend, well,
we've all probably been there, done that.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help anything. You know what I mean?
So, kind of what you're saying, beyond the mechanics and the mental and the practice part of it, you also have to be able to forgive and forget yourself.
Pool's mostly mental, emotional.
Yeah.
We focus on mechanics, and we want to apply mechanics to make sure we have great fundamentals. But when I'm playing Ray and it's 7-7 and we're going to 8, and I'm looking at a 7-ball with inside English, that's a real long shot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get my emotions under control to make that ball. I know how to make the ball, but I think that's the most important part.
What do you do to get the mental preparation going when you're getting ready for, any tournament? I mean, because I know a tournament versus, let's say, an action cash game is a little bit different because you have good tournament players and you have good cash game players. So what are you doing to practice the mechanics, the mental part of it, to get ready for a big tournament?
I have personal goals, and some of the personal goals are like make sure that I sit correctly at the table when it's not my turn. Make sure that I breathe. Make sure that I'm really focused on every ball. Make sure that I feel right before I swing, and I'm trying to bring all those together. Gotcha. And if I focus on the score, or this guy's beating me, or I'm not playing as well as I'm going to be, those things are called distractions. I want to go back into how I want to focus on the next ball, and make that next ball. And if I'm doing that, I'm playing well. And at the end of the match, doesn't matter if I win or lose. If I'm playing well, I feel pretty good about it.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you're spending some time just kind of mentally rehearsing and preparing. And so if the mental part's there, the mechanics, because that just comes with repetition, right?
Yeah, I mean, spending my days doing it.
Yeah.
I better my mechanics better be there. And if you gotta be able to make long straight ends, and you gotta if you gotta know all the shots, right? And
Yeah.
if you know all the shots, you gotta be able to you just want to execute them and to do that, you gotta have the right emotion.
I think that's big for all of us in pool. I'm a golfer too, and they always say in golf and I think pool and golf kind of walk some parallel lines, and
Absolutely.
it's the two sports that you have to be willing to forgive and forget your that bad shot and get back on.
Well, golf probably even more so. I mean, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the golf coach at the high school for a couple of years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the worst one in Oregon.
That's awesome. They run some parallel lines, and just
putting is a lot like pool to me.
Yeah.
Keeping your head
Lining up.
still, following through, arms got to be straight, got to get your feet right. Pace. Making sure that you hit the right speed.
And I mean, when we get over to the table, we can talk about some of that more. But I'm finding that pace is, if you start swaying on your pace, like, it can really screw up your game too.
Yeah. In pool, once you get the speed down, you got everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing you can concentrate on.
Tempo.
Just making sure that your pre-shot routine. Those simple things.
Chris. Chris,
is he fishing
Chris,
right now?
well, I think he's man, he loves you. Thank you for being a great coach and friend. What is your most memorable tourney win? And that is actually in one of the exact question that we were going to ask here in just a minute, but we might as well ask it now. And tourney that you won and the one that you lost.
That's a good question. I took I went with Pete Gates.
Oh, Lord.
He's been a lifelong friend of mine since the 90s. I met him at Chalk and Roll, like in 94. And then Cedric Sloan, another good friend of mine, we went to the APA Masters Nationals, and we almost won the whole thing. We were one ball away from winning the whole thing. We won $6,000. But, I mean, we went through a lot of great teams. I beat a great player, Brian Parks, during that run, and that was pretty fun because they put you up on top of the.
Like
at
a
the
podium?
time they put you at the Riv.
Oh.
There's seating at the Riv, and there was lights and cameras, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was pretty fun.
So that one was the most memorable, one of the ones that stand out inside your mind. What about a loss?
Well, one that pops in my mind is Nick Kruger at BCA. I've never won a BCA singles tournament. The Western BCA, the big ones. I've gotten second times, but I had Nick Kruger double dipped, and I was jacked up over a 6-ball hill, and I missed it. But I mean, I played really well all the way through it. I wasn't upset about it. But that one sticks with you. Like, ooh, I almost had that one.
Yeah. It's still, you think about it at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, man, I got jacked up on that 6-ball.
I've gotten second a few times where I played bad. This time, I played really well, so I just remembered it wasn't an awful lot.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm blessed to have a lot of little wins here and there. So.
Which ones do you remember more that you lost? The cash games or the big tournament?
Well, I remember everything.
Right.
I've had some big cash losses. I've had some good cash wins too. The tournaments, though, you know what I mean? Okay, so cash is kind of where I learned how to play, and I'm a pool hall guy, and I'm a one pocket player, and I'm a lot more comfortable for money. I think people that have played me in tournaments may have tried me out cash, and they kind of see a different level of player. And I'm not trying to cause a bunch of action here or anything like that, but unless you want.
Yeah, right. Hold on. Let me hold on.
But
he will take action.
Mike D will explain it to you. He'll playing for money. Let's say you're playing a race to 7 for 100 or race to 9 for 200 or something like that. You usually have 2 or 3 barrels So your comfort level is high in the beginning. And when I'm super comfortable, I'm a much better player. So whatever people see me in tournaments, probably see something a little bit different when I'm gambling. I'm a lot more comfortable gambling because you got a tournament. You get beat, you're out.
Yeah. You're going back home to Oregon.
You get your head down for a while. I mean, of course, we're getting over it right away.
Right.
But
especially when
tournaments are hard. I always told people, I was like, some people take pride about being gamblers, and that gambling's easy. Being a tournament champion's tough. It's brutal. You can't make any mistakes. You got to, these guys like Stan and Dan Louis and Lingelbach, these guys that constantly win tournaments, they really got some skills that are hard to attain. A gambler, Alvarez,
Randy Baker.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Randy Baker's a champion, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't
True.
But it's comfortable. When I go to the pool hall and gamble, I'm in my comfort. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see you at classics.
My butt's puckered up.
Yeah. Well, when you're going down to Vegas and you're playing in a tournament and you're 2-0, you're like, oh man, that's
brutal,
stung.
right? Yeah. Now you gotta watch pool.
Yeah. For 3 days going down to Vegas.
Right.
So
that's what mini tournaments are for, I guess.
Yeah. And if nobody knows, I'm sure everybody does, but Mike D. Paul's referring to is Michael Deichmann. I've known Mike forever, and I know that you've been besties with Mike for a long time, but Mike D is a great ambassador for pool. He's got so much stuff going on with Raw.
We have a Fred group that started to play it over at his house that really, we all improved a ton. Going over there and playing a ring game, you bring $100 and you're only playing 1-2, and then all of a sudden you're broke. You're like, no, I better improve my game.
Right. Well, especially that crowd too. And I remember back in the day playing Mike D at Midway Bar and Grill, and out in Oregon City. And man, he was good then. And he came to one of my tournaments a couple Saturdays ago, and
he's a different level. It's a different level, yeah.
Him and that Revo and his cue is just amazing to watch.
We supported each other coming up. We were probably in the 620 range when we first started hanging out. Maybe higher on that because we gamble on big tables, but figuring out how to play on a bar table and being more competitive in tournaments, we kind of helped train each other. So he's been a good buddy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think this really is a good question, especially with the whole voting coming up, I believe, on the 5th from the BCA committee board about keeping women and men genderless. This is a great question. Do you play lady pool players differently than you do men?
No.
All the same, right?
Yeah, I've been beat by too many both sexes.
I know. I play Carissa Biggs. I'm like, okay, I don't see a
I've
woman.
been playing her hard since the 90s. You're going to lose.
Yeah, like if you...
She'll still beat you. It doesn't matter.
Well, and I can think of so many women that I play against that, man, you go to sleep like Raquel Walton. She was playing...
My wife said she's improved the most.
Good Lord, man. She beat, I think you were here for that tournament. She beat Mike Grimm, Torek, who are like...
well, you got to remember, I'm a wrestling coach, right?
Yeah.
So I have girls wrestling boys. So the whole girls versus boys playing pool doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
I do think that women should have team events. And this is just my personal, I don't know if I'm right or not. I'm just saying. Sure. I think they should have team events and... single events because they are the minority and it's a great bonding experience for women. If you see women's teams, at the end of it, both teams are hugging and everybody's best friends and men have so many opportunities to play pool and you everywhere you look, you see a man. It's man. So I think it's okay for women to have more opportunities because they're the minority. And but when you throw a tournament together and you want to separate them just on Fargo numbers, that doesn't make sense to me. I think women should have their own tournaments if they want, There should be open to.
Like NWPA.
There should be no man's tournament that a woman can't play in.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get involved in what pool should be for men and women because I'm just going to go play pool. But something that I noticed at this U.S. Open recently is there was more women playing in the bigger pro tournaments. Like Chang, the #1 women's player.
She's so good, I can't believe it.
She just grilled. I mean, like grilled them.
Well, she tortured Mitch Ellerman, and I got no shot with that guy.
Like she was breaking and running, and I forget the Chinese woman player that played Shane, and she was leading in that set. And Shane, obviously, way better player than she was, but she was so fundamentally sound that she just kept on running some racks.
Well, upper body strength isn't a factor, so
yeah.
It should be equal.
Yeah.
The magic rack.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an equal sport. You know, it really is.
Yeah, I think, man, there's so many women here, and I'm just talking about in our zip code, in our pool of Northwest Oregon players.
Before you ever played, the Oregon, Washington women, when they would go to Vegas, they ran stuff.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
We've always had the best women, best players, women players in Pacific Northwest, always.
I mean, Josie, Linda Carter, obviously Oregon's
Kimberly Kirk, Cindy Doty,
Cindy Doty. But I think Liz Cole. I mean, you can't the GOAT. I mean, she
roasted me before.
Yeah.
Just not even close.
I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, Carissa, she's in the top 100.
Carissa plays. You know what I mean? She's amazing, but she's always running things.
Yeah. All right. I know she wants to play. She's a pool player.
Well, she'll stay up all night with you and gamble too. She's from the old school. You know what I mean?
She told me her story once we were at Sam's when she was running her tournament, and she told me her story. If you've never had a chance to sit down and talk to Carissa about how she started in pool, she used to play at the bowling alley against all the Asian cats.
She was a hustler way before I even picked up a cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
And she was telling me, and man, it was such a great story.
She speaks a different language, too, when she starts gambling. It's funny. You got to... Chris is a hustler.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she's gonna like you for that.
Everybody knows it don't matter.
I'm sure if she's watching right now, she's gonna chime in. But
if she's betting high, just bet with her. That's all.
There you go. That's how you get action from Carissa. Well, I think the great thing about Oregon is that, and you touched on it, we have so many good women pool players that we're blessed to be able to see them and play with them here in Oregon. So, well, we answered pretty much a lot of these questions, and we need to take some time, and you can show us what you're looking at on the table. We have a camera angle to see exactly what you're looking at on the cue ball and the object ball. But I think this is a good question. Lessons, practice. What us 500s need to learn from Paul Marquez, because you do lessons. I think one of the cheapest around here in town for $40 an hour.
Least expensive.
Sorry,
That's
I know.
That's marketing, right?
Yeah, sorry.
I've been trained.
Sorry. Least expensive, $40 an hour, and they can Facebook you, Paul Marquez, and set up a time to do lessons. So what are you doing to practice now that you're on tables? Are you running one pocket?
I play straight pool.
Straight pool.
And then I play my wife. She's an accomplished player, and we do Fargo races.
Her game is getting strong.
So I mean, she keeps me competitive also.
Yeah.
So I do things with my feet, and I teach people to set their feet. And I got a buddy named Jeff Leonards. He taught me some things about 2 years ago that I've applied to my game of 20 years. That's really helped me elevate my game to a more consistent basis, and that's what I try to teach other people.
Right.
And I'll show you a little bit about that today.
Well, let's get into it.
Right.
Let's see it. I'm looking forward to this part of it. So. Okay, so we are gonna start uh before the shot routine and what you're doing. We're gonna do what is in your case. This is an awesome case, by the way. Okay, gotcha. So let's open up. Let's find out.
Well, I've got all Greg South. You know, he's a local legend, great cue maker. You can't, no complaints with Greg South. Also dismissed problem. He built me Purple Heart, great cue. At this cue, JD Edinburgh. And this is Purple Heart and Ivory. I'm sorry for all the elephants that died, but the way it came is 15 years old. Pretty fun. Yeah, that was a gift from my buddy. And had the Purple Heart to match, and it's a break jump, so this breaks down. And the break jump isn't Ivory because it's illegal now. And I got a extension for the playing cue, Purple Heart. And these shafts are maple. This break jump shaft, it jumps so good, you guys. It's unbelievable. The great jump cue, and it's weighted, so this shaft is weighted here. And that's a Greg Souter specialty. On the brake shaft? Good question. It's up there. I have no idea. I don't know what any of my cues weigh. Yeah. I do. Yeah, I don't want to get off the center of the cue ball. And I just got this Revo online that matches my 3H10. They don't make Revos with a 3H10 pin, but this guy that's pretty famous in Ohio makes them. He redoes the. I guess anybody can do them, but he's real good at it. And they had them for sale, so I said, well, I better try it because Mike D's constantly driving me crazy about it. And so I took that Revo and I won the ACS, and you know I'm actually competing against guys that I gamble with at a little higher level immediately. Which I'm not, like I said, Predator doesn't need any more endorsements, but seems to be working out.
What tip do you have on your Revo right now?
Kamui super soft, as per Mike D. He's gone through all the trials and tribulations. So I'm just copying my buddy Mike. Seems to be working out.
What do you like about that tip? Is the grip of the ball, like if you use one tip out, like it still holds true, or
Well, you know, I'm used to playing with a harder tip with a maple shaft, and the Revo is so stiff. I wanted to soften up the hit. You know, my primary games, and you guys see me on bar tables. I really enjoy one pocket and straight pull, and I've got to be real. I have to have a lot of soft shots, slow spins. I have to cross my ball over in funny ways to banks with. You want a soft. Revo so hard doesn't go well with a hard. You know, I don't know. I just know it's a Greg Souter. I don't much. Once equipment feels good, I try not to worry about it. I don't know any weights, diameters. I know the Revo's 12.9 only because that's what they make. But I really can't tell you dimensions of things. You know, um, who's the great player in Hawaii? Rodney Morris. Rodney Morris, 15 years ago. You don't pick up a cue. You pick up a cue, it should feel good to you right away. Always talking about getting used. You shouldn't have to get used to be automatic. Always kind of taking that information as my.
When you got this Revo connected on there, what do you like more about this 12.9 Revo versus what benefits? Low deflection versus.
Well, maple, it feels better. I mean, better is kind of relative, but I could spin the ball. I can put my cue ball where I want. Still getting used to the. But what I've noticed about, especially playing big, tight table, that if my wrist is a little bit loose, I don't follow through perfect. Errors. I guess what I'm saying is, when I think I miss it, it still goes in. And well, I mean, I've already had that like 10 days, and I've money playing, pay for it, and you would think there'd be a huge adjustment. It makes balls. You know, Cole started playing with one. Mike D started playing with one. I saw Lingelbach messing with one, but he's got a different shaft every time I see him. And you know, I've did a lot of reading, and then Oscar Dominguez, and I know that some guys are getting sponsored. And me, I saw an improvement on the big table. Cue makers across my cue maker friends are probably going, ugh. But it's a quality product. It's so stiff, you can feel the stiffness too. If you ever have problems with draw or any kind of power follow through, Revo is going to get you there.
So you're going to a big tournament here pretty soon. You're going to be playing one pocket. Are you going to be using this Revo in the one pocket?
Yeah, I've been training pretty hard with it. You know, I'm a pool hall junkie, right? So I was thinking about putting it away or just training like a madman with it to get used to it. And you know, I already won a tournament with it. Last night I played 7 hours of one pocket with it, and I give a guy a handicap, same guy I've been playing for years. I beat him a lot more comfortably than I ever beat him, so things seem to be working out.
So, so you're saying in the one pocket, it's easier to maybe do softer shots or twist the ball, because I know you're twisting banks and stuff like that in one pocket. And
you know, when you're playing one pocket, you have to slow roll a ball, clip off balls to hide behind other balls. You got to make sure that the cue stays in a line. Cue ball stays straight in a line. It's the low deflection shot. Here I am plugging. All we're doing is plugging them. But anyways, so it goes so straight that those simple safeties, you know, if there's a flaw in your stroke, if there's a turn in your wrist, if you hit the tip wrong with a maple shaft, you can hit the cue ball wrong with the Revo and it still goes straight. So I've noticed that my full rolling, clipping off other balls makes life.
Here, show us. Let's put it together. Let's see what it's all about. Man, that is a beautiful combination, Paul. Good. Oh, hold on. So we're going to set up the camera angle, Paul, so that people can see what you're seeing. So here's the 12 ball. You're going to cut in, And so so at a cut angle like this, first let's start with the how are you addressing? What is your starting point on what you're looking at? So what's your pre-shot routine? Do you have a pre-shot routine?
I always start with the ghost ball. So I'm always visualizing a ball connected to this ball that allows both balls to go in. You guys probably understand what I'm talking about. And that's where I begin. So I find the ghost ball. It's a pretend ball in front of this ball. Now I have it in my sights. Now I take the center of my cue ball and push the cue ball to the center of that ghost ball. And that's where I set my feet. I set my feet to that spot. Then when I get down on the ball, I do more fine tuning and detailing with my aim. I make sure that I see the exact spot on the cue ball, hit the exact spot on the object ball to make it go in.
So are you lining up? So here we're looking at this. You're looking at this shot right now. You're visualizing what you want to do and the spin and everything like that. So what is your step-in process to the shot? Because earlier you said you're working on your feet movement and stepping into the shot. So are you thinking about the stepping in, or it just becomes natural? Like, oh, okay, I'm moving in with my right and I'm moving in with the left.
Right. I use my right big toe. There's been some writings about your toes and your feet and your heel, and everybody's a little bit different. And the information I got was big toe's the best way to go. But the guy that was writing the book was 6'2". Well, I'm not 6'2". Might be playing basketball. But I use the ball of my foot and my big toe to address to the center of the ghost ball line. And then I just bring my left foot forward comfortably, and then my muscle memory from my mechanics and my hands take over.
So when you say muscle memory, that's because you've spent hours and hours and hours doing this, where your hands are raw at the end of the day from hitting. Yeah. Awesome.
My fingers cramping. I played a huge set last night. I was kind of worried about today because my fingers started to hurt so bad.
So, okay, now mentally, visually, you're kind of there. You've seen it. You're outside the box. Now you're stepping inside the box, stepping in. So I think you and I have talked about this. So you step in with your right foot first.
I use my right foot first, and then I let my left foot come naturally. When I first started doing these drills, I really went by the book, and I probably got lazy or just more comfortable with whatever's going on. As long as I feel balanced, Corey Duell and Alex Pagulayan, they do this form, and okay, okay, and I try to emulate good players. I make sure that my right elbow is at a 90, and that my right hand is underneath my right foot, and that's a huge part of it. Making sure that I have strength behind my stroke. So having strength behind your stroke means that you can fire it in anything you want. You're balanced. And when I get down on the ball, Bob Olson said it best. As soon as you get down on the ball, it's not going in. You probably address the ball wrong. And it says most of the time I could just one stroke it, but I like to feel the shot when I'm down there. So my feet do all the aiming for me.
So, all right, well, let's take this one. So here you got a cut shot, a little cut shot. What are you looking at on the cue ball?
Well, I'm using the center of my chest to address the cue ball, and then the ghost ball. Push center of my chest right to the ghost ball. I'm setting.
Okay, well, let's see it. Where your contact point is on the cue ball. Yeah. So right now what's your thoughts before you pull trigger? Are you looking at the object ball? Are you looking at the cue ball before you pull trigger?
I'll be honest with you. I'm just making sure that my left arm isn't too tight and my right arm is loose. So I'm not worried about the aiming. Um, it's you play enough pool. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you connect to the feelings. When you're a beginner, you want to focus on aim and where's your tip going. You're advanced, really want to feel right. And so when I'm down on the ball, I know my feet are right. I can see that I'm aiming at the ghost ball, and the ball's probably going to go in if I just feel right.
Maybe go ahead and pull trigger. So right before you pull trigger, you're thinking, I have good feel, my right arm is loose. Awesome. So I know that you had a QTech Synergen for a little while. Jason did it Synergy. Jason Molly was asking this question. So I know you only had it for like a week or something like that.
Right.
So what did you notice differently between what made you like the Revo more than the QTech?
Well, first of all, the Q-Tech was a good product. And I think the carbon fibers, most all of them are a good product. The selling point for the Q-Tech for me was I was playing really well with my maple shafts, playing my favorite game, pretty good. My health is good right now, so I'm playing good pool. So I didn't want something so brand new to screw up my game. Q-Tech, their selling point is, hey, um, the Q-Tech is, okay, this feels like wood. And I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want it to feel like. Um, and then, of course, my buddy Mike D yelled at me, um, and he said, "Why would you change? You already have wood. You want something different." So I thought I'd give the Revo a try.
Okay, so here let's maybe line up another one where you got more of a severe angle cut. Got make sure the camera can pick it up. Um, Something like that. Yeah. So I'm trying to get it to where the camera can see, so everybody can see what you're kind of looking at too. So maybe go this way. So, what are you adjusting on your shots?
Well, I'm addressing the ghost ball. I'm putting my feet down, and then depends what I want to do with the cue ball. I could hit this with center, low right. I could hit it with any different way. It depends what I want.
Okay, so let's see where you are lining up and how you're walking into the shot. Nice and smooth in the heart. So when I saw in your pre-shot routine, you're kind of standing there looking at it. What's kind of going through your mind as you're in your pre-shot routine?
Well, I'm locked into the spot, being super still. That's something you have to ingrain in yourself. I'm keeping my head still. I want my right arm flowy, left side relaxed but firm. I have all of those in place. With a common feeling that I have when I want to lock into how I feel. Um, Once I'm there, pull back slow. Oh,
Here, a question for you. When do you get to that point, Phil? Like, are you searching for it the night before? Like, hey, I'm just gonna keep on practicing until I find it, or like, kind of muscle memory and like, hey, I found it again. There it is, and I'm done playing for a while. What are you doing to find that, Phil?
when I was training in martial arts, there was this Russian Russian sambo teacher that visited us. He asked me how often I trained in martial arts. 4 times a week. He shook his head at me. And this guy was straight from Russia. He was a gangster, martial artist. He's amazing. He says, stay in tune. You have to hit balls every day. You know, when you hit balls every day, you don't have to worry about those things. So that's what I try to do. I try to hit balls as much as I can.
So to maybe us 500s, right? And for us to get to, let's say, the 650s into the 600 range, what would be the thing that you would tell all of us if we're in a lesson like, hey, and you say, what's your goal? And I tell you, my goal is I want to become a 650. What are some of the things that we can practice on in order to eventually try to reach our goals?
You've got to get a pre-shot routine down and make sure that you can deliver the cue ball straight. And you got to be able to use spin. You can't just address the ball with center ball. You could master center ball, but you have to be able to shoot all the shots. And you have to figure out the trial and error what's good. Then you got to go to tournaments and get your butt whooped. And because when you play, Mike Grimm and guys, you got to see what they did to beat you. You got to be competitive, have some drive, and don't be okay with losing all the time. You know what I mean? Figure out these skills and figure out what these guys are doing that you're not doing. A lot of it's pattern play. I mean, like for you, Mark. You know what I mean? Like you've got great skills. Sometimes your pattern play is a little off, and maybe that's not from cross training. I think that games like straight pool, bank pool, one pocket, those types of games really improve your all-around game. And I like to be versed in all the games. They come up. I play golf on a snooker table. There's Ray and I both have billiards training. And those things, you won't believe how they come up. You learn force follows, inside Englishes, ticky shots. And you don't even hear about these things on bar table world. You know what I mean? But they come up all the time, and if you don't experience them, it's gonna be hard to play at a high level.
So, what you would say to 500s, lower ranked players out there, people that are trying to get their game elevated? Obviously, time on the table is big. Routine. So when because somebody asked me this one time. Oh, go ahead.
A lot of people say that I hit balls this week. Okay. I hear this a lot. When I hit balls, I'm gone for 5 hours, and I'm hitting balls for 5 hours. I'm not at league. I'm not goofing off. I'm not drinking. I'm not playing video poker, whatever it is you do at bars. I'm at the pool hall, and I hit balls for 5 hours. And I try to hit focus balls for 5 hours. And then when right now, I have straight pool goals that I'm trying to accomplish. And it just puts you in tune. And I play a little more pool than the next guy, and I know that the guys that are better than me, it's not just talent. They even play more than I do, and it's just really what you put into it.
So practice.
You have to know what that is. It's a lot. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, I put some time on these tables, and but I think once again for people that are trying to get better, I mean, they could spend time down here and just hit balls, but to take lessons from Paul Marquez, Steve Lingelbach's, Robin on Beaverton.
That's a good idea. One of the things that sticks with me is watching poker online with all the best poker players in the world. And the poker guys, was one guy said, one of the best players ever, he said that if you're not around friends that are talking about pool and how to win at pool and shots and things like that, you just won't get it. you've got to be consumed with it a little bit. You know what I mean? And you have to constantly be around people that are trying to get better. And be in leagues that promote getting better. If you really want to improve, don't just say you want to improve. Do the work. It's a lot of work.
So put in the time, and so this is a question that I really want to ask, and this is just for me. What is in your because I had somebody ask me, what's your pre-shot routine? And I was telling them, well, I'm thinking about breathing and keeping, they're like, no, that is not a pre-shot. What is and you're saying that's the most important is a pre-shot routine.
Yeah, just a consistency. You want to, you just want to have a habit. So when you are nervous, the reality is you're going to be nervous. So you want some good habits to take over when you are nervous. I'm always setting my feet and trying to keep my head still. And then part of my pre-shot routine is making sure that I'm calm and I'm relaxed. I'm an emotional guy. I like combat sports, things like that. So pool doesn't really, pool's like shooting archery. You have to lower your heart rate, stay calm, make sure that your body's chill. So that's part of my pre-shot routine is making sure that I have stillness.
So that's a good word. So before you get out there inside the box.
I mean, we could talk about lessons, and here's the deal. If I have to give you more than 3 lessons, I'm not doing my job because I'm giving you so many tools to work on. And if you have all those tools, I'm not sure why you would keep coming back to me. So I think it's important that instructors as well as students understand that even though you're always a student of pool, it doesn't mean that you always need to get lessons.
I know that I've gotten lessons from Steve Lingelbach, and we're covering so much that it can really become a little bit overwhelming. So what are you doing drills to find the feel of the shot? Are you doing just like, okay, I'm going to run straight pull to go find it?
The great thing about setting up a straight pull drill is, you put one ball out and you make that ball and break into the next rack. A straight pull, unlike any other game, has little cut shots, little nip shots, little draw shots, jacked up shots, power shots, soft shots. You have to get correct angles. So I play that game because it's the most rounded practice game, and I see everybody's game goes up after playing it. I mean, Sam's Billiards, there's a straight pool league, and I can see people that are beginners. And they stay in the league. They don't go around to the bars, and they improve so much. And then they show up they decide to play BCA or APA or ACS, and they go down to the beach, and they're like, wow, I won a tournament. I was like, yeah, I know. You play straight pool.
So you're saying being well-rounded and being willing to get out of your comfort box. Like, I'm just going to play rotation, or I'm just going to play 8-ball. Like, you have to, like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself, get outside the box, maybe mentally open myself to different games of pool.
Yeah, well, when you're, like for me, I'm trying to achieve a high run. And so I'm able to practice temperament because I get nervous if I'm on 65. Here I am, I'm getting close to 100, you know what I mean? And there's this old saying about if you can run 100 balls, you can play like a pro. So that kind of constantly messes with me. But you want to practice that nervousness, and you can't always afford to go out of town to a tournament, so you have to be able to practice all these particular cool shots and practice the pressure too. So I think it's important. I think straight pool is a great way to do it.
And so straight pull, breathing, I mean, just kind of recapping everything that we talked about. So breathing, putting in the work, time on the table, good pre-shot routine, keeping your right arm loose and nice and smooth pendulum.
One of the greatest players we ever had around here was Glenn Atwell, and he was kind of a kook, but every 2 weeks, first of all, Glenn won every tournament. and Glenn was the best player. And guys like Pat Schumacher said that Glenn had the best cue ball he's ever seen. Coming from a guy like that, that's a pretty special. I mean, we got Dan Louis right up the road. It was a real strong compliment. So he would always be working on something different, something with his pinky, something with his bridge hand, something with his head, something with his cue technique, maybe the distance between it was always something brand new, and that focus eliminated all other distractions. And I kind of learned something there. If you can focus on just some simple things, it helps you play more comfortably.
We're gonna wrap up here in just a little bit, but something that I do want because something that I've been really working on is my grip on the cue. I noticed that when I find that right grip on the cue, like not too light, not too firm, that I noticed that I'm pocketing balls. Like I still pocket ball if my grip was too tight because I've been there, but my cue ball reaction is a lot different. What is your grip look like?
All right, this one's a good one. My grip pressure is different on every single shot. So, and that's muscle memory. Sometimes I put pressure in the back of my fingers when I have to thin a ball, hit it slow. Sometimes I'll put it in the front of my hand when I have to do slow draws.
So let's see it.
Okay.
So let's say you're doing pretty much a stop shot, because I know that kind of tests your stroke to be able to just stop it.
My middle fingers keep my cue from hitting the ground. Okay, so it's holding me up. And so when I'm doing a stop shot, I'm mostly gripping with my middle finger.
Okay, so let's see it on the cue, what it looks like. Okay.
And I just rest my fingers over the top of it. And then that middle finger keeps my cue from falling down. The middle finger keeps my cue from falling down. Okay? So I'm just squeezing with my middle finger. The speed of my follow through matters.
So, and the cue ball, by the way, just stopped dead in his tracks right there. So let's see one that you would do for a power draw.
Since my middle finger is keeping the cue from falling down, my rear fingers are going to squeeze a little bit tighter to create my cue being stiffer. And then I just want to keep my head down.
And then the cue ball just draws back like that. So from what you're saying is that you are pretty much on the power draw shot, you're gripping a little bit firmer or inside your hand a little bit more instead of the fingertips, because you want more control, more connection with your cue.
Yeah, I want my cue to be stiff and hard. That was dirty.
I'm not gonna go there because this is a family-oriented audience. So
if I want to do a soft draw, I'll move the grip to my forefingers. I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll move the weight to these fingers.
And you know what's interesting, Paul, is that I saw one about Shane, and that's what they asked him, like, so what kind of grip are you using? And he's like, I use multiple different grips for different shots to control the cue ball. And so what you're saying is you do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and sometimes it's unconscious, you know what I mean? I'm not positive. I just know the way it's supposed to feel in my hand, and I haven't taken a camera to my hand or anything like that. But fundamentally, all my fingers are always on the cue, and there's different pressures that I use for each shot, and there's probably like 5 different shots. It's not like 50 or anything like that. So and it's just something you do with repetition.
Paul, we really want to thank you for coming down. I know a lot of people, including your sponsor, Damien from Jam Up, shared it on Facebook. We had a lot of people sharing on Facebook. This is our second podcast, our second episode. So we have a YouTube channel. It's under Savage Streaming Production. So if you want to come watch that later, because Paul gave some great information that I'm going to use too, just hit like and share on the YouTube channel. This will be on the YouTube. Rick, who has been a great great advocate for pool, who is also a great pool player. His name is Rick Blasky. He's from Idaho, him and his wife, and they came and bought a whole bunch of Savage billiard apparel. And, man, they have an awesome team. Oh, okay. Yep.
I just want to thank everybody for being so supportive, putting me in the U.S. Open One Pocket. I put a Facebook page up, and people donated money, and I'm going to Vegas to play One Pocket, and I want to thank all of you guys for helping me and being supportive, and I love my community, and thank you.
And I think we were talking about that earlier, about the pool community in general. And I know we had a booth for BCA and SCS, and I got to rub shoulders with pool players from all across the world: Canada, Idaho, Montana, Washington, D.C. And it is amazing the support and the kind of bond that we have over a game of pool. I always say pool is no respecter of person. Doesn't care how much money you have in your bank account or what pool cue you're using. It just test heart and bring heart. And I think one of the biggest things that you said that made you become the good player that you are, because you're an awesome player, is time on the tables. More time, put in the work. Get lessons, obviously, and then work on those lessons. Be willing to play other games, one pocket, billiards, which is 3 cushion, maybe some carom pool, bank pool.
Be okay with getting beat up at tournaments. Go to tournaments that you may not feel like you belong. If it's financially okay, you know what I mean. You don't want to waste your money, but you're never wasting your time. You're always going to learn something, and putting yourself in the fire really matters.
And so putting yourself out there, being willing to test what you've learned, right? Because if you're always just playing by yourself, the ghost player, right?
Depends on your goals. I mean, maybe that's who you want to be, But if you want to win a tournament, it takes a while. You have to go through the process. Some people can pick it up. Chris Byers was able to pick it up. I mean, he started when he was young, but sometimes it takes a long time, you know what I mean? And you got to be patient, and you got to do the work.
I think that Chris Byers, Cole, Cole puts in a lot of time, and it's showing for sure.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't come naturally, you have to go through, I see Ricky Hodge over here, he taught me how to play straight pool, correctly. And, you got to learn from people, get to know people, and ask questions and get beat up.
Well, so Paul, want to thank you for coming out. I just want to give a shout out, if she isn't watching, to Sophia Tran. She is awesome. I don't know if she's watching, but she's been out on the road for Bad Boys. Awesome pool player, great ambassador of the game of pool, Sophia Tran. If you're watching, go get 'em, girl. So. Paul, thank you for coming to episode 2. We want to have you on the podcast more, because I think people can learn so much about pool from somebody that's been around it for so long. So, any last minute words for? All right. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, buddy. All right.